The primary function of the excretory system is to rid animal bodies of nitrogenous or nitrogen-containing metabolites. In other words, nitrogenous wastes that accumulate from the digestion and subsequent production of proteins. Further, the excretory system is how animals osmoregulate. It's how they maintain that appropriate balance of water and salts in their cells and interstitial fluids. So a quick review of osmosis, which hopefully you recall from Bio 181. Animal cells, a red blood cell on the top, and plant cells with the cell wall along the bottom. So osmosis is a special case of diffusion, where water moves from areas of high concentration across a semi-permeable membrane, like a cell membrane, to areas of low concentration. I always tell students, remember, water is hyper. So water is always going to move to the hypertonic space, be it the cell or the solution. Water is always going to move in the hypertonic direction. So for example, on the far left here, we have a red blood cell that is immersed in a hypotonic solution. That means the cell is hypertonic relative to the solution. Water is hyper, it moves into the hypertonic space, causing the cell to swell and then eventually to burst, to lyse. Over on the far right, we have a hypertonic solution. Water's hyper, it always moves to the hypertonic space. So again, osmosis, the movement of water molecules from areas of high to low concentration across a semi-permeable membrane. So the hypotonic cell is going to shrivel up and become flaccid. In the center, we have an isotonic solution. So what that means is the amount of water and salt is balanced in the environment relative to the cell. So we have equal amounts of water moving into and out of the cell. So marine or oceanic saltwater fish and freshwater fish have opposite osmoregulatory challenges. Marine fish that live in the salty, hypertonic ocean are constantly losing water out of their gills in the countercurrent exchange as they respire. Freshwater fish, they have the opposite problem. So as water moves across the capillaries in their gills, water is going to flow into the fish. They're always absorbing water through their gills as the fish, the freshwater fish, is hypertonic relative to its environment. So I can tell you by looking at this diagram, just based on the size and the direction of the arrows, that this is a saltwater or marine fish, a fish that lives in the ocean. How can I tell? Because you've got this large light blue arrow, which designates the movement of water. So this fish is losing large amounts of water out of its gills, where the gills, the capillaries interface with the water. So to offset this water loss, what marine fish do is they drink copious amounts of seawater. Wait a second. If I'm ever lost at sea, castaway style, on some raft, I can't just drink seawater. And you're right, you shouldn't do that. That's ill-advised. But saltwater fish can drink seawater because they have a special gland called a rectal gland, which is going to concentrate the salts and allow them to physically excrete those concentrated salts. So this is a marine fish losing large amounts of water out of its gills. Here we have a freshwater fish with the opposite osmoregulatory challenge. So here at the interface between the gill and the freshwater, say it's a fish in Lake Pleasant, The fresh water now is going to move into the gills. So to offset all of that uptake of fresh water and to maintain an osmo regulated balance, the freshwater fish is going to have to excrete large amounts of water. So yeah, when you're swimming in Lake Pleasant, you're swimming in lots of fish pee. Recall that in addition to osmoregulation, the excretory system is also going to aid animals in excreting their nitrogenous waste. So different evolutionary lineages are going to manufacture different molecules to excrete this waste, but it's all about getting rid of the ends, the nitrogen. So most aquatic fish like this trout here, are going to synthesize ammonia and then excrete ammonia. So ammonia is strong stuff, but fish can get away with this because they live in aquatic environments and so they can excrete ammonia anytime they need to. On the other hand, mammals like this squirrel and you and I, we're going to produce urea to get rid of our nitrogenous wastes. Urea is stored in the bladder and then turns to urine when it mixes with water and we urinate. Birds, on the other hand, they can't carry a fluid-filled bladder around and fly, right? They have to really minimize their weight in order to fly. So birds are going to dispose of their nitrogenous metabolites using the molecule uric acid. So birds and reptiles. Has this ever happened to you? The next time it does, take a close look at that bird excrement. So the dark part, that is fecal material that's been excreted by the digestive system. However, the white part that is in bird as well as reptile excrement, that is the uric acid. So that's the nitrogenous wastes. Learn something new every day.